Hey everybody out there in the YouTube universe, this is Mr. Movie, and in today's video we're going to be doing another top 5 list. If you watch my channel, you know I don't do top 10 lists by genre like most YouTubers do. I do the top 5 movies that are in my collection by a particular actor or a particular director. Sometimes I do topical ones, but in today's one we're going to stick to the script. Today's one is going to be the top 5 movies in my collection by an actor. Now, for the movies to be considered, obviously the actor has to be in them, but they have to play a starring role or a supporting role. So it can't be a cameo, can't be a bit part, can't be in it for just 5 minutes. The character has to be integral to the plot, and you can't have the movie without the character. So it also doesn't have to be the actor's greatest acting performance, but it has to be a great movie, and the actor has to be great in it. That's how they get chosen for the top 5. With that being said, in this list, we're going to be doing the top 5 Robert De Niro movies that are in my collection. I would have to say this was probably the toughest list that I had to do. Definitely the hardest. I mean, this guy, Hall of Fame, no question about it. One of the greatest actors of all time. It's just so diverse. He has such a long filmography. I mean, it was really hard to go through my movies and just look in the collection and go, okay, got this. There's just so many movies to choose from. It was really hard to do. I just picked my top favorite 5, and you know, if you watch my other videos, you know I have a rewatchability scale that I do when I do reviews, and that's kind of what it boiled down to, which ones I could watch over and over that are so great, they just can't be denied, and that's how they make the top 5. The other thing about De Niro that I think isn't fair is he gets tagged kind of like Al Pacino and a couple of other, mostly Italian actors, I would say. They get tagged with that gangster tag. Like, they only make mob movies, which is so unfair, and it's so incorrect and inaccurate because De Niro, like I said, is so diverse. I mean, he does all kinds of roles, all the way to comedy. I almost put a comedy in here. I don't do this, but I'll tell you, it was Meet the Parents. I mean, it's very, very rare that I go to a movie and laugh out loud, even comedies. I might, I'll be entertained by it, I'll like it, I'll chuckle, whatever, but very rarely do I laugh out loud. And that's one of the movies that made me laugh out loud. And because he's so great. He's so straight in the movie that it's so funny. You know what I mean? And he's got a lot of movies like that. And not just comedy, all kinds of different types of roles. Like I said, really diverse, one of the best actors of all time. The hardest list I've had to do up to this point, and there's nothing else that could be said, but he's in the GOAT conversation, Robert De Niro. So getting right into it, starting out the top 5, we'll start out with number 5 is Cape Fear. This is a tremendous movie. Him and Nick Nolte playing off each other great. He is one of the scariest convicts that you've ever seen in any movie ever. I mean, he's just terrifying. Everything about him, from his look to his southern drawl, the way he speaks, his tattoos. I mean, I got tattoos, but he's got really like sick ones, and like he plays a controlled chaos lunatic flawlessly. I mean, 1 minute he's very calm, cool, collected. Yes sir, no sir, but snap in a second and just go to complete and utter lunatic. And like I said, he's terrifying in the movie. He terrifies Nick Nolte. He terrifies Nick Nolte's family. It's just, I mean, he plays a horrifying character, detestable. I mean, he's a rapist, he's a killer, and basically the story is that Nick Nolte's character was his lawyer. He feels, De Niro's character feels as though he didn't do his job to get him out of prison, and it It's just the battery's going low there. Sorry. He feels like, you should have got me out of prison, and you should have got me off these charges, and he didn't. And the whole thing is him slowly, methodically, psychologically, and then eventually physically taking his revenge on Nick Nolte's character and Nick Nolte's character's family. Terrifying movie. He plays a lunatic to a T. Great acting performance. Really cool story. It's a remake. It's one of the few that are better than the original. If you haven't seen it, I suggest it. Really good movie. Coming in number 5, Cape Fear. Coming in number 4 is, I guess you could say, a gangster movie. And some of these are, they have to be, because he makes some of the best gangster movies of all time. But you'll see that he doesn't just do them, like I said in the intro, but is Casino. And what's interesting about this with his character is he's Jewish in the movie. He's not an Italian mobster. He's hooked up with them, but he plays a Jewish guy. And it's loosely based on reality with what happened, how Vegas came to be and how the mob was involved. And he plays Ace Rothstein, and one thing is the director, Scorsese, him and De Niro were a match made in heaven. There's so many Scorsese movies that he plays the main part in, and it's like they're dancing together. The acting and directing, it's just perfection. And also he's in a lot of movies where you have a lot of the same actors pop up, but the guy I think that he plays the best off with is Joe Pesci, who's also in this movie. Him and Joe Pesci, they're in a lot of stuff together, but they are amazing. And in this movie, it's great too, because Joe Pesci's the muscle, and he's kind of the brains of the operation. And it's basically how they controlled Vegas. The mob controlled Vegas, and him in particular being the best stakes gambler out there. And it's just a really cool, epic story. And tremendous cast, great acting, great directing, a really cool story. And you get pulled in, and it's like you feel like you're in Vegas at that time. And I love period pieces, so this is back when Vegas was first really getting big, and when it got to the point of being huge. And they take you from how they kind of revolutionized Vegas and how it all came tumbling down, because eventually corporations took over and pretty much kicked the mob out of there. But great story, great acting, and his character Ace Rothstein is really cool. One of my favorite movies by Robert De Niro, coming in at number 4 is Casino. Coming in at number 3, another one of my favorite movies, completely different, to show, like I said, the diversity of Robert De Niro as an actor, is Men of Honor. Really important movie also, because it deals with race, deals with the military, and him and Cuba Gooding Jr. play amazing off each other, and he plays just a vile Southern cracker, racist, hate-filled guy. But he's sort of misunderstood, because he realizes that it's not, race that he's mad at. It's coming from poverty. And that happens a lot in real life. People, they attribute it to race when it's really just poverty. There's a famous saying sort of that you hear with racists, where they say, say you're a racist white guy from the South, and you say, if you're not better than a black guy, who are you better than? And that really goes to your situation, your poverty-stricken situation, not the fact that it's a black man or an Asian man or a Hispanic man, whatever. It's not even about that. It's just you're poor and you need someone to blame it on. And that's kind of what he realizes while he's training him. And, the Navy didn't want... Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character wants to be a master diver. They didn't even want to let them in the Navy to begin with. Then to, go to diving school, and then to pass and then become a diver? No way. And De Niro was like, hey, man, if you can do the job... He's such a prideful man, and he's so into being a Navy diver that he looks at it like, if you can do it and be great at it, you will have my respect, because that's the thing my whole life is about, is being a master diver in the Navy. And eventually, he kind of, Cuba Gooding Jr., his character is so driven and so about being a master diver that he changes De Niro's mind and changes his whole mindset and idea of having a black diver, that he not only says okay, but he gets in his corner and gets behind him. And, you know, stuff happens to him later on that he needs help, and De Niro's there to help him and get his back. And it's a really endearing story. It's a true story too, actually. You know, the first black Navy diver, and them playing off each other is amazing, like I said, and the performances are just great, and it's really intense, and it pulls you in, and like I said, deals with race relations, deals with bigotry, deals with the military, and it's just a really, really great story. And you root for the Cuba Gooding Jr. character, and at first you despise the Robert De Niro character, but at the end you're like, you know what, I respect him because he changed. And just an amazing, amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, I really suggest it. It's such a tremendous movie, and a very important movie. Coming in number 3, Men of Honor. Coming in at number 2 is The Godfather 2. This is all 3 of them. The reason it's The Godfather 2, and usually I put these movies together when it's a bunch of them, sequels. I don't have to do that here because he's only in number 2, and he plays the title role of The Godfather. And people argue, is Godfather 1 or Godfather 2 better? I don't have that argument because I put them together. We won't discuss The Godfather 3. But Godfather 2, the reason why it's such a great movie is because they have the present time, which, I mean, not present we live in, but the present time that it was supposedly made. So you have the Al Pacino character, and he's the Godfather at that time, but they do all these flashbacks to when Marlon Brando, who was in the first one, was the Godfather when he was young, played by Robert De Niro, first in Italy, coming over here, and what he had to deal with coming here in Ellis Island and all that, and then how he came up in New York through the ranks, and eventually how he became the Godfather. Such a great movie. Some people say it's the greatest movie ever made. It's number 2 on this list, and I'll tell you why in a second when you see what number 1 is. But it's the number 2 Godfather because he's not in the first one, he's not in the third one, and he takes what Marlon Brando did, and he makes it his own, but he stays true to what Marlon Brando's character in the first one would have been like as a younger man, with respect and how he runs his family and what's important to him. So he makes it his own. So it's Robert De Niro's performance, but it's kind of like, yeah, that's what the Marlon Brando character, the Godfather, would have been as a younger man. And I love how they show how he rose up and came through the ranks to become the Godfather. Tremendous movie, one of the best movies ever made. Number 2 on this list, The Godfather 2. Coming in at number 1, Goodfellas. Now, the reason why this is ahead of The Godfather, you might be screaming at your TV or whatever you're watching this on right now. The reason why is because in The Godfather 2, it's all flashbacks and it's not the whole movie. Whereas De Niro is in this whole movie. That's the only reason I picked it. I love them both the same. I mean, Goodfellas is one of the best mob movies ever. So is Godfather 1 and 2. In my mind, they're even because they're different. They're different periods of the mob, different time frames. So I look at them a little differently. But De Niro in every, Joe Pesci again, like I said, them playing off each other with Ray Liotta, just a stellar cast. Another Scorsese movie. It's the perfect mob movie to me. And the reason why I pick it over The Godfather, not as a film, but as a mob movie, when they do mob movie lists, is because it's more brutal. And to me, that's a little more realistic with how the mob was. You know what I mean? You need that brutality, you need that blood, you need the shooting and the, you know, and all that stuff, because that's how it was. Godfather is a little more about family and it's a little more romanticized, where Goodfellas is more hard hitting and rugged and street. You know what I mean? Like the mob is. So that's why I pick it in mob list. The reason why it's number one on the De Niro list here is because, like I said, he's in it more, and it's just I like it better. I could watch it more. It comes down to my rewatchability scale that I always talk about. So, you know, if you've seen Goodfellas, you know it's just the perfect mob movie, and that's why it's number one. And I think it's probably why it's the number one movie on the De Niro list over the Godfather 2. Both mob movies, but it just inches it out because he's in it a little bit more, and it's more my favorite mob movie. Now, as I said earlier, he's so diverse, but people, for some reason, they equate him with mob movies. I could see why. And since that's the case, and the first two on my list, number one and number two, are both mob movies, I went with the mob movie I like more because of its mobness, if that's a word. So going through the list, coming in at number 5, Cape Fear. Coming in at number 4, Casino. Coming in at number 3 is Men of Honor. Coming in at number 2 is The Godfather 2. And coming in at number 1 is Goodfellas. Now, people might be shouting at the screen right now, and let me address that. I know what it is. Where are the other Scorsese movies? Where is Taxi Driver? Where is Raging Bull? Listen, I get it. Nobody loves Scorsese more than me. But, like I said, it comes down to rewatchability. Mean Streets, another one. The reason why is because I think those movies, they're classics. I mean, they're phenomenal. I love them. They've been on other lists of mine. I have, if you want to go back in on my channel, I did a Scorsese top 5. Those movies are in it. The reason that those ones didn't make this list is because it's the rewatchability thing. Like, those are masterpieces, but I can watch them only so much. There's a lot of, not necessarily filler, but there's a lot of stuff that if I was Scorsese, I would have cut out. Now, he has his own style, and, you know, he tells a story in a way that, you know, is his own style, I guess you could say, you know, like the Scorsese way of telling movies. But, like, if you notice, the ones I picked that are Scorsese aren't like that. They're, you know, always continuously something going on that's very interesting and not just kind of slow paced. And I understand why he does it, and I understand what he's trying to build towards, but the movies I picked are a little more fast paced and I could watch them more. The rewatchability is higher on those because of the pacing. Some of the other Scorsese movies, the pacing is a little slower, and that's the only reason. I love them. They would be on the list if it was a top 10, but I make it hard on myself and it's a top 5. So that being said, if you like Robert De Niro, which I don't know who does, I don't know anybody that doesn't, and you have different movies you want in there, you want to yell at me about the Scorsese thing, you have these in a different order, just let me know in the comments. I'd like to check them out and we could chop it up. Subscribe to my channel if you like my content. Hit the notification bell when I make new videos, which I do all the time. You'll get notified. You can check them out. If you like them, hit like, share them with your other movie nut friends. If you have friends who are big De Niro fans, let them know what Mr. Movie has to say about it. Also, if you watch my channel, in a bunch of the videos I make, I wear some cool t-shirts that are done up by my partner. And they're all available. They come in different colors, different designs. There's a million different styles to choose from, different kind of designs and everything on them. They can all be found at futuristicvintage.net. That's futuristicvintage.net. It's part of our whole Futuristic Vintage thing. This channel, other channels, we have some creative stuff that we do, all kinds of stuff for you to check out. So if you dig the t-shirts, go get some. There's a coupon type thing that works with the video that you could also check that out, get a little bit off, save some money. That being said, please share this, like I said, and let everybody know about Mr. Movie, and let my channel grow so I can make some more content for you guys. As you can see, I'll never run out. That being said, again, this is Mr. Movie signing off, and I will see you again next time at the Flicks.